I want you to think about the worst internet fandoms out there. Just think of the worst ones that come to your mind. Now take a sigh of relief because those fandoms are nowhere near as bad as the one I'm talking about in this video. Okay, not really, but just watch it. The Loud House is a show on Nickelodeon that was hyped up as the show to eventually overtake SpongeBob. You can probably tell by now that that didn't happen. The show is about a kid named Lincoln and his 10 sisters and showcases their chaotic family lifestyle. People hyped this show up in 2016, hoping that it would be the next titan of cartoons, and it was, for a short period of time. It was big in 2016 and 2017, and gradually declined after that. Is the Loud House as big as SpongeBob? Not at all. The reason I say this is because there's a lot of people who think otherwise for some reason. Outside of the fandom, nobody really knows about this show. In my personal opinion, the show just exists nowadays. I remember when the show first started airing, and for the most part the show showed promise. It was something different from the usual slop that Nick was producing. A very similar feeling I had to Harvey Beaks. But it wasn't long before the quality of the show started to slip. To be honest, the show had problems from the beginning. Even in the first season, there were some bad episodes. I don't watch Nickelodeon or even cable TV anymore, and I haven't for a couple of years now, so I can't really judge any of the newer episodes, though most internet discourse claims The Loud House sucks now. The Loud House ended up getting 2 bad spin-offs and 2 bad Netflix movies. But by the time all this came out, the show was not the same as it was when it started. Bottom line is the show got big even though the quality is debatable. What nobody expected, however, was a certain episode that aired in Season 2. This episode was titled No Such Luck. Let's see what happened here. The episode has a pretty simple plot, meaning it's very easy to understand why people don't like this episode. What happens is Lincoln gets frustrated with constantly having to attend his sister's events and just wants to have some alone time. This is understandable as he literally has 10 sisters. Realistically, you wouldn't even be able to do anything for yourself. His sister Lynn Jr. threatens him with a baseball bat if he doesn't attend her baseball game. And once Lincoln actually goes to the game, Lynn's team ends up losing. So instead of just taking the L and accepting defeat, Lynn blames Lincoln, accusing him of being bad luck.
What?
And she bans him from her baseball games going forward. Realizing that he can get out of doing anything now, Lincoln plays into the bad luck. All of his sisters believe this, and now he's free to enjoy time to himself. So nothing really bad happened in the episode so far. Lincoln got what he wanted. Now here's where the episode completely falls apart. The parents get involved. Now, the kids being stupid enough to believe in bad luck makes sense. They're kids, they don't know any better. But why do the parents fall for it? Like, I know the parents were never portrayed as bright, especially their father, but this is completely out of character for both of them. Any normal parent wouldn't even give this kind of stuff any attention. I know I'm setting myself up for disappointment by applying real-life logic to a cartoon, but this is meant to be a slice-of-life show. The show also takes place in Michigan, which last I checked is a real place. Anyways, the episode continues to get frustrating as Lincoln's family starts barring him from going on fun trips with them. It eventually gets to the point where they kick Lincoln out of the house. They actually made a child leave their house and sleep outside.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
You'd think this family came from TikTok with how bad their parenting is. What are we doing here, man? Seeing that his situation is only getting worse, Lincoln decides to tell the truth, only for it to fall on deaf ears. So he does the only other thing he can think of, which is not buy a gun, and decides to prove that he isn't a jinx. He shows up to Lynn's next baseball game disguised as a mascot, and Lynn's team actually wins the game this time. So Lincoln proved that he isn't a jinx, everyone understands, they all apologize, everyone goes home happy. That's how this episode should have ended. But because this episode had already been bad from the start, they chose a different direction. Because Lincoln's family now only believes that he isn't bad luck when he's wearing the mascot suit, meaning that he's not allowed to take it off.
Man, what the fuck?
Absolutely nothing was learned in this episode. The end. I'm surprised Lincoln didn't kill these people. I'm sorry, I'm starting to sound like the people I'm talking about. I'm not trying to sound like those cartoon reviewers that take everything seriously. In fact, I don't really care for this episode anymore. But I can understand why people hate it. I didn't like it when I saw it for the first time either. The episode just leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth. No redemption for any of the characters, no lessons learned, nothing. I can't really say the parents were flanderized in this episode since they already follow the dumb husband and hot wife trope that every cartoon uses. I absolutely despise this trope. And the kids were always stupid, so there's nothing new here. But No Such Luck was an episode that nobody was revisiting anytime soon. is what I would have said if the following events didn't happen. This episode single-handedly drove the entire Loud House fandom insane. Everybody tap in, because I don't think I've ever seen a fandom crash out quite like this one. So, whenever the topic of bad fandoms is brought up, you'll usually hear a few familiar names like Star Wars, K-pop, Bronies, Sonic, FNAF, etc. The Loud House fandom does not come up as much as it should. And while most fandoms take their discourse to places like Twitter and Reddit, the Loud House mostly lives on a site called DeviantArt. I'm sure you know what it is, for better or worse. There are a ton of Loud House fans on DeviantArt, and after No Such Luck aired, they wanted their opinions to be heard. Almost 24/7, there would be post after post just tearing into this episode. But unlike simply complaining about the episode, DeviantArt had a different way of showing their hatred. Fill-in memes. I can't believe I'm actually talking about this. You've probably seen these before on Google. If you've ever seen a picture of two random screenshots slapped together with a title like Thing Reacts to Thing or Thing is Mad at Other Thing, that is a fill-in meme. Now, I just want to make this clear. I'm aware that a lot of the people who make these pictures, as well as a lot of people in the Loud House fandom, are autistic, and these pictures are most likely a result of that. Do not harass these users who do this. I understand that fixations can be weird. If you type in the phrase "no such luck" on DeviantArt, you will immediately be greeted by a mountain of fill-in memes solely dedicated to this episode. All of this just reminds me of those old cringe compilations that used to be on YouTube a few years ago, and I'm willing to bet some of these pictures are in those videos. But it doesn't end at crappy memes, because artwork was just as rampant. Now this is where it gets even wilder. This episode got so many people in their feelings that there was an unhealthy amount of drawings featuring Lincoln committing some type of harm towards his family, and then just artwork of his family being abused by random people. People were jumping onto MS Paint faster than anything else, pumping out crudely drawn artwork of straight up torture.
I can't take any more.
It's important to note that most of these probably came from children, and drawing this was probably the only way they could show their frustration, but this is still funny in retrospect. This whole situation was a mess, and once again, it does not end with the artwork, because now we're moving on to possibly the most dedicated part of the hate train, the fanfiction. Yes, I'm aware that the longest piece of literature in the world is a Loud House fanfic. I'm saying this before I get the obligatory comment. There have been many fanfics written based on the events of No Such Luck, except the outcomes are very different. Most of them feature Lincoln being an outright demon in order to get his revenge on his family. As I was reading through some of these fanfics, part of me started to wonder if these were just people writing their own traumas into the story. That might be why they took the episode so seriously. It hit too close to home. I'm not gonna name drop any of these fanfics, even though they're in the pictures, because I've already suffered through this enough, and we'd be here all day if I did. But as I mentioned earlier, if you want to witness this insanity, just type in No Such Luck on DeviantArt. My condolences if you do this. When it comes to the Loud House fandom, I see a lot of parallels to the Sonic the Hedgehog fandom. Both have a loud minority of weird fans, have controversial people involved with the franchise, and both virtually took over DeviantArt for a while. And of course, even outside of the No Such Luck debacle, the Loud House fandom is pretty weird. The weird fan art is most likely what you're familiar with. Bad photoshops, OCs, crossovers that are just a bunch of JPEGs put together. You name it, they probably have it. And that's only the tame side. I'm not getting into the other side of the fandom. There's also the Go Animate side too. This kind of stuff isn't exclusive to the Loud House fandom. A lot of cartoon fandoms often fall into things like this. That's just what happens when most of the fandom is dominated by weird kids, weird adults too. But the Loud House seems to stand out above the rest. I think it's kind of fitting that the fandom declined once the quality of the show declined. Nowadays, the Loud House is just seen as another show on Nickelodeon. Most people have calmed down since No Such Luck aired, even though some people still talk about it. People are still watching the show, it seems, and not much else has been going on for them. In conclusion, the Loud House fandom is one that needs to be studied. Thanks for watching this video. As always, leave a like and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Stay tuned for more.